The legendary Lake Guardian trio, Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit are coming back to Pokemon Go, and in order to get all three of these Pokemon, you will need to raid for them, and some of them will require remote raid passes. So for this video, I'm going to be giving you a comprehensive guide on how you could take them down in raids, as well as what regions they will be spawning around the world. Alright, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So, today we're going to be talking about the Lake Guardian trio. They are set to return to 5-star raids really soon in Pokemon Go. And in order to get all three of them, you will need to use remote raid passes. The reason why I say that is because each of these Pokemon spawn in only specific places in the world, which means if you are not living in a certain area, you will need to use remote raid passes to get the other two. And ultimately, this has been one of the unique factors with the Lake Guardian trio. On top of that, they are Pokemon that occasionally spawn in the wild, believe it or not. But I think the main way you can get all three of these Pokemon is of course going to be through remote raid passes. Sure, you could trade for them during a major event like Pokemon Go Fest, but ultimately the best way you can get all three of them is going to be through remote raids. At the end of this video, I'm going to be going over which region each of these Pokemon spawn in, so if you are looking for a specific one out of the Lake Guardian trio, definitely pay attention to this video so you will know which friend to pester for remote raid invites, and ultimately you should utilize some of the functionalities that Niantic has implemented in the last couple of months, and I'll get more into that later. But yeah, let's first talk about how you could take down the Lake Guardian trio, and thankfully all three of them pretty much use the exact same counters. All three of the Lake Guardian Pokemon, Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit, are pure Psychic type Pokemon, which means they're only going to have 3 weaknesses, which include Ghost type, Dark type, and Bug type damage. All three of these Pokemon are fairly easy to take down, but each of them have their own strengths and weaknesses. First and foremost, Azelf is one of those Pokemon that is actually very good in terms of offensive power, but it's also very weak when it comes to defense. And then when it comes to Mesprit, it's a little bit more well-rounded, and with Uxie, it's a little bit tankier compared to the other two. When it comes to their perfect IVs, Azelf is going to be 1834, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2293. For Uxie, it's going to be 1442, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 1803. And then Mesprit is going to be 1747, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2184. All three of the Lake Guardian Pokemon are going to be boosted by windy weather. Now, in terms of how many trainers you will need for all three of these Pokemon, I would suggest going with a raid group that consists of 5 trainers with Pokemon that are at least level 35. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can do it with just one other trainer for some of them, but ultimately you will need at least 2 other trainers to comfortably take down all 3 of them. In terms of the best counters for all 3 of these Pokemon, it's a no-brainer. Mega Tyranitar is going to be the absolute king against these Pokemon, and the reason for that is because it is the highest DPS and the highest TDO Pokemon when it comes to Dark-type damage. And then Mega Gengar is a very solid alternative, but do keep in mind that considering that it has a poison typing, it might take super effective damage from some of the moves from any of these Pokemon. But in terms of non-Mega Evolution Pokemon you should bring, definitely consider Shadow Tyranitar if you have it in your collection, as well as Shadow Chandelure. Make sure they are going with Dark type and Ghost type attacks, because those are going to deal the most damage up against the Lake Guardians. And in terms of budget counters, you should obviously consider regular Tyranitar with Dark type attacks, as well as Hydreigon with Dark type attacks. These are the best Pokemon to use against the Lake Guardians, and trust me, they are definitely really effective. Now, I mentioned that these 3 legendaries are regional Pokemon, which means they're only going to be spawning in raid battles in specific areas of the world. When it comes to Azelf, it's going to be spawning in the Americas, so that means both South and North America. And then when it comes to Mesprit, it's going to be spawning in both Europe and Africa. And then Uxie is going to be in the Asia Pacific region. Refer to the map that you see on screen for which Pokemon spawn in which area. If you're looking for a specific one of the Lake Guardian Pokemon, then you will need a remote raid invite from the region where that Pokemon is going to be spawning. And then something else you need to keep in mind is that all 3 of these Pokemon will have their shiny forms available. So That is something that is very important because getting the shiny forms of a Pokemon that's not in your region is definitely going to be a collector's item. For myself, I have none of the shinies for any of the Lake Guardian Pokemon, so I will definitely be raiding for the ones that are not spawning in my area. But for the one that is spawning in my area, as Elf, I'm going to be looking to send remote raid invites to people who are not in the Americas. Specifically, all my friends who live in Europe and Asia, and I do have quite a lot of those. And hopefully they'll be able to send invites to me for both Uxie and Mesprit. I already have myself a 100% IV Mesprit, which I actually caught from Pokemon GO tour of last year, but I would really like to get myself a 100% IV of Uxie, and then hopefully I'll be able to get a perfect IV of Azelf. I don't necessarily care about the shiny forms of any of these Pokemon, but I do care about the 100% IVs, and hopefully I'll be able to get them, and it's really going to depend on how many of these raids I end up doing. Now, something that I really do think you need to pay attention to is going to be the ability to join raids from your friends list. This is probably one of the best quality of life features that Niantic implemented in the past couple of years, and this is a perfect opportunity for you to utilize it. I would definitely suggest you check your friends list on the daily so that you could see if any of your friends are in a specific region where a particular Pokemon is spawning. For example, if you're looking for Azelf, then you're going to want to check your friends list when it is active in the Americas. And if you want to get an Uxie, then maybe you'll have to go at nighttime or in the early mornings to see if it's going to be spawning in the Asia Pacific region. It's really going to depend on timing, but the best thing you could do is just consistently check your friends list at all different hours of the day, because one of the Pokemon that you specifically need, you might be able to get it directly from your friends list. Just make sure you have some remote raid passes ready. So yeah, these are just my tips for how you could get all three of the Lake Guardian Pokemon, and like I said, all three of them are definitely some of the hottest collector's items in the game. A lot of players want to get all three, especially the shiny forms. I think the shiny forms are definitely something that a lot of players always go after, and even if you have a surplus of the shinies of the Pokemon from your region, you should still try to stockpile them, because when you go to places like Pokemon Go Fest, they often draw a lot of really good trades. That's something that I've personally experienced quite a lot. So yeah, that's just everything that I have to say regarding the Lake Guardian trio. I'm really excited about their return, and I do think it's going to be a really good time of raid battles. I definitely think a lot of players are going to be active while they are in raids, and fortunately, they're going to be around for a very long time. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding the Lake Guardian trio down below. Is there any one of these three in particular that you're going to be targeting, and do you really want all three of them? Some players just simply do not care for them. I would really like to know your thoughts. If you are really excited about this, then definitely share your reasons for feeling that way down below. And yeah, let's have a great discussion. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to every single one of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, if you want to support everything that I do, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. If you become a paid Patreon member for any amount, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And I will always prioritize my patrons when it comes to remote raid invites, especially when it comes to these three legendary Pokemon. So yeah. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you're always welcome to do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and that would be a huge help. I'm definitely trying to build up my brand, especially my presence on social media, and I'm trying to post a lot more. So if you want some exclusive content and you want to keep up with my daily life, then do consider following me on social media. And yeah, with that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.
Jinsula